Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Right Idea. For this episode, I'm back at one of my favorite spots, the Tammany Trace Trail. Joining me today is my friend Chris, who was on a road trip driving through Louisiana from Wisconsin, and he and his travel buddy were staying in Slidell. So we decided to meet up, and what better way to spend the day and stretch out those road legs than on the trace. He had never ridden this trail before, and I had never started from the Slidell trailhead, so it was a trip of firsts. And I was super excited to explore a new route and show them around. I brought along my extra city bike for Chris to use since he was traveling and didn't want the extra stress of having to travel with his bike. He also just happened to be tall enough to fit perfectly on mine, so it worked out. It was pretty cool seeing both my bikes out on the same ride, and it was even more awesome being able to share this trail with Chris. Hey, give me a high five if you're into bikes and adventure. The Louisiana summer has definitely started heating things up. But riding on the trail underneath the canopy of these trees, the temperature is almost like a spring day. It made riding conditions near perfect, and the slight breeze and shade were a welcoming addition to an otherwise sweltering day. But make no mistake, once you would stop moving, you were quickly reminded that the summer was indeed in effect. One of the many things that I really appreciate about the trace is how much thought that went into it. They built rest stops and workout spots, plus it provides people with not only a safe space to run, ride, or walk, but also interact with nature and the outdoors and encourage people to be active, instead of being stuck inside watching television or with their nose in their phone screens. If I lived in the area, I'd be here every day, but also like that it's a treat when I come visit, and it helps me to appreciate it even more. I love riding through the alley of trees. It reminds me of a fantasy novel. It definitely had a Lord of the Rings type vibe. Hobbits and orcs and trolls, oh my! The only thing we were close to seeing in real life though was maybe the Honey Island swamp monster, who's notorious in Louisiana folklore and sighted in the Pearl River area not far from us. We didn't see or smell him though. Riding with Chris is a lot of fun. He's got a great knowledge of plants, and he was pointing out all of the different types of vegetation and foliage. I was telling him to make sure to watch the ditches on the side of the road for wildlife. We spotted lots of turtles on the way, but when they saw us turning around to get a shot of them, they would scamper into the water. I guess they were camera shy. We pulled up to the Bayou Lacombe Bridge and decided to stop for a water break. The Bayou Lacombe Bridge is a converted railway bascule drawbridge which crosses over the Lacombe Bayou. The bridge draw raises and lowers daily, operating on a schedule, typically from dawn to dusk, so make sure you cross before closing time to avoid being stranded. Not far from the Lacombe Bayou is another spot dedicated to Adrian Roquette, who was a Creole missionary that the native Choctaw Indians named Chata-Ima. The name, which translates to Choctaw leader or giver of the Choctaw, is often associated with legendary Choctaw leader Pushmataha, and is the namesake for Chata-Ima Elementary School in Lacombe, Louisiana. which you'll see is directly off the trail and accessible by the bridge on the left. One of my other favorite parts about this trail is going over the many different bridges crossing over small creeks and bayous. It's like peering into nature's window and witnessing it as it's intended. There's always something going on, whether it's a turtle sunning itself or fish swimming in schools going about their business, or even just seeing the vast variety of plants and colorful flowers. It's a great way to forget about the daily stresses and focus on being present. Speaking of bridges, we're approaching one that crosses over Bayou Castine. Let's see what nature has in store for us today. And wouldn't you know it, we got a surprise visit from a 9-foot alligator, slowly making its way down the bayou. By the sound of the large bullfrogs in the area, I suspect that he's been eating pretty well. What a great experience to share, and it definitely was one of the many highlights of our ride. Later, Gator! And now back on our bikes to our next destination. What are some of the cool things you've seen on some of your rides? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear about them. We stopped off in Mandeville for a water break, and I noticed this one place, Iceberg Charlie's, had water misters out front, so we decided to go cool off. I'm glad we did, because that's where we discovered their signature iceberg, a sweet treat of custard layered with Italian ice. A perfect way to refuel and beat the heat. Chris got a cherry gone wild, and I got a mango tango with mango boba balls that popped when you ate them, releasing delicious mango flavor. Cheers! I told Chris that Lake Pontchartrain wasn't too far away, so we decided to take a detour down Girard Street and go check it out. As many times as I visited Mandeville, I don't think I've ever gone down this street. It was a pleasant surprise seeing that it offered an array of dining and shopping options, from sandwiches and tacos to coffee and gelato. It even had some fun little gift shops. I'll definitely have to come back and check it out next time I'm in town. On the right, you'll see Brooks's Bikes, Trikes, and Beyond, where you can buy a new bike or rent one for the day. They also do brewery tours, so check them out. I'll post a link down below. Oh wow, Kelly's. That's the name of my wife. Maybe I'll have to bring her here for a bike date. Oh, check out that cool little European truck. If anybody knows what kind it is, please drop it in the comments. We made it to the Ponch, as Chris affectionately calls it. I was trying to show him the skyline of New Orleans from across the water, but the conditions were a little cloudy. We did see a few buildings though. We took a detour down the shoreline and saw these beautiful trees covered in Spanish moss, so naturally we had to go check it out. Spanish moss is usually associated with Louisiana, with it being depicted in photographs and art, but little do some people know, it's been used for many things, including building insulation, mulch, packing material, mattress stuffing, and fiber. In the early 1900s, it was also used commercially in the padding of car seats. Today, it's used in smaller quantities for arts and crafts, bedding for flower gardens, and as an ingredient in buffetage, a traditional wall covering material. That was a fun little ride through the moss. But now it's time to get back up on the trace and cool down again underneath the shade of the trees. We rode by the Mandeville Cemetery, which I've passed many times before on previous bike rides, but I've never thought to visit it, so we decided to go ride through it today. One grave caught my attention, and it was one with a rusted Kermit the Frog riding a bicycle. It was pretty interesting. There was lots of intricate ironwork, marble statuary, and above-ground tombs and cathedral vaults, which South Louisiana is known for. I'll post the link below if you would like to read up more about it. Funny fact about this cemetery, do you know how many people are buried here? All of them. A quick stop over this little bridge, and wouldn't you know it, another alligator sighting. Look closely on the right hand side and you'll see him on the bank. Not much further down was this little eastern leopard grasshopper blocking the path. It had some pretty colors, but it can also leave some irritating secretions on the skin, so we helped it off the road and let it be. Came upon this little artist setup entitled Letters to the Wind, which features a custom mailbox where you can write cards or leave unspoken thoughts on provided paper. It's also a haven for the Louisiana state bird, the mosquito. Well, another epic ride in the books. Thank you again for watching The Ride Idea. I really appreciate all of the likes and comments. Make sure and subscribe to the channel for more. Hey, give me a high five if you had fun. See you next time.